Why would you settle for someone just breaking you off a piece of sandwich when you know how to make your own and fulfill your appetite? So that sort of thing. And it's just a growth thing. And I believe he understood from the conversation we had in the beginning when I told him, like, hey, listen here, man. This is where my goals are. This is what I'm looking to do. This is where I'm looking to go. So, and then it got to a point to where, I kind of broke away from his organization, and I started my own. And, I've had a couple of properties under contract and everything. And one thing I will say is that your learning curve never stops. I mean, it's going to be an ongoing thing over and over. So, never think that you know it all. Never think that you know it all. It's a lot of ways to make money in real estate. Okay? Once you begin to utilizing some of the strategies that you learn and that we'll be talking about in these courses, I mean, you'll understand how it starts to make sense for you. Okay? And then, I mean, it'll get to the point to where even some of your own friends and maybe relatives, they may be paying $900 a month, close to $1,000 a month for a small house or a small apartment. I mean, people who pay rent for apartments, they never gain equity. It's like just pouring money down the toilet. I mean, they get the benefit of, okay, let me back up. One benefit from renting is that you don't have to worry about the pressures of home ownership. You don't have to worry about replacing the roof. You don't have to worry about, cutting the grass. You don't have to worry about changing out the hot water tank. You don't have to worry about replacing the toilet, those kind of things. When you're renting, hey, it's like, you just pay the rent and you let the landlord take care of everything. Okay? Well, depending on what landlord you got. Because, if you're dealing with a slumlord, then for the most part, you can call them out your broken toilet, but if you don't know how to fix it or you don't have the money to fix it, well, that's gonna you can't flush. You can't take a crap and then flush it down the garbage disposal. It's not gonna happen. You wouldn't want to do that. So, that could be a problem there. But for the most part, if you're dealing with a great landlord, those are the things you don't have to worry about. Okay. Now, those same issues you would have to deal with as a homeowner, but the difference is you're building equity. If you have an emergency, for whatever reason, you can refinance your house and pull that money back out and use it for something else. There are opportunities where you can refinance your house and use that as investment for other properties. The list goes on and on. I'm kind of going on and on here, but I think my first lesson that I got from a guru that kind of made sense to me. Okay, he was saying about getting a property under contract with the option to buy and flipping that contract to another investor. Okay, it made sense to me. I read the materials over and over. I think he has a video on YouTube, and I watched the video over and over and over until it made sense. And once I understood that, it got to the point to where it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stick with it. Okay, and there were times where I put a property on the contract, didn't have any buyers in my buyers list, and I ended up losing out on the deal. And those are the type of things you'll deal with from time to time if you're not prepared. So, and one thing I like to say, I gotta give props to my partner that I was telling you about earlier. He used to tell me, sell before you buy. Okay? So, and that goes back to having that buyer's list, because if you have your buyer's list ahead of time, then you know what it is that they're looking for. If you have a buyer that says, well, hey, I want a 4-bedroom house with a fence in the front yard, fence in the backyard, with an indoor garage, indoor 2-car garage, you know, with a family room, well, you know what to look for. Okay? You know the type of properties to look for. So, therefore, once you, I mean, you know, especially if it's a hard worker who's trying to raise a family, you know, he may not know how to fix on properties too much. So, maybe you want to look at properties in decent areas, okay? And, I mean, but 9 times out of 10, if you have that property that you know he's looking for, then there's your buyer. Even if he can't rent it, or excuse me, even if he can't buy it from you straight out, you know, you can create a owner finance program to where you can rent it to him. There are rent-to-own programs. There's home owner financing programs. You just have to be creative, you know. Have your buyers list. Know your exit strategy. You know, the best way it can benefit, you know, you and your business for whatever it is you're trying to do, and then just go for it. You know, I can go on and on and on. You know, maybe it might sound like I'm rambling, but for the most part, you know, they're having some focus issues there. But anyway, I mean, you know, this L with L's Property Connection, and again, we're dedicated to the newbie investors. Have a good one.